exhibition press conference. So the protocol today will turn out to Deputy Minister of Planning and Human Resource Development, Carton Miller, who will give us just a general overview, and then the Minister will give the official statement, and we'll take a few questions from the press. So, Mr. Miller.
Thank you, TA, and thank you, and thank you, TA, and Assistant Minister of Energy, Destiny. We want to welcome all of you again to the conference room of the Minister of Mines and Energy for this launch of the third in a series thus far of showcasing Liberia's endowment in the mineral, energy, and petroleum sectors. This third series is turned on exploring opportunities in the mining, energy, and petroleum sectors of Africa, with particular emphasis on Liberia. We have with us today, and we are very appreciative, we have Mr. Archie Domo, who is the Director General of the Liberian Petroleum Regulatory Agency, and we have also Mr. Gus Wanu, who is the Managing Director of Liberian Electricity Regulatory Commission. Amongst other professionals, we have Mr. Urias Gold. We thank you for your presence. We have Mr. Benedict Sai, one of our most efficient and prolific prominent geologists. Also Mr. Rufus Tano, well-experienced geologist and professional in the oil and petroleum sector. Without much ado, we'll turn the floor over to the Minister of Mines and Energy, Honorable Gessler E. Warren, who will formally launch the SEMICA, what we could term SEMICA 2019 Liberian Conference and Exhibition. Mr. Minister.
Thank you, Minister Miller, for that splendid background. We'd also like to welcome our co-partner, Innocent, from the Cabinet SEMICA group. And I think Deputy Minister Miller has done well to capture all of the dignitaries here, so I don't want to go further to review his protocols, which I think was well done. So welcome, dear visitors. The Republic of Liberia is a country in West Africa, bordered on the south by the Atlantic Ocean, on the west by Sierra Leone, on the north by Guinea, and on the east by the African coast. Liberia is blessed with an impressive variety of mineral resources and has traditionally relied on mining, namely iron ore, gold, and diamonds, as a major source of income. In a recent report released in October this year by the World Bank's chief economist for Africa, it was stated that the mining sector in Liberia grew by 7% as compared to the non-mining sectors, such as agriculture and manufacturing, which declined by 3.5%. The recent growth in the mining sector signals the potential to contribute significantly to employment, income generation, and infrastructure development. Notwithstanding the foregoing, the development of these mineral resources has significant environmental impacts that often go unnoticed. This is why the Ministry of Mines and Energy works in collaboration with the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, and other environmental stakeholder institutions to ensure that operating companies uphold high environmental standards and best practices. The mining and export of iron ore has been the mainstay of the Liberian economy for more than half a century now. Iron ore mining accounted for about 30% of total export earnings in 2016. The predominant position of iron ore mining in the economy has largely overshadowed the importance of other mineral resources. There are several large iron ore concessions in the country, but currently only ArcelorMittal is operating on a downscale level. The company is one of the largest producers of iron ore in the world, with steel making as the core business. ArcelorMittal has its mining operations in the Mount Nimba range in northern Liberia. Further development of much of the multi-billion-dollar mineral deposits includes building and rebuilding of railways, roads, ports, electrical plants, housing facilities for workers, and other critical physical infrastructure. The mining and export of gold and diamonds has also contributed importantly to the country's revenue stream. Some other new mineral deposits that require further assessment to determine their economic viability are manganese, bauxite, kyanite, barite, and phosphate, among others. There are also potentials for uranium and base metals such as copper, lead, zinc, and nickel. These are important prospects to diversify our mineral economy. Alluvial diamonds are widespread and are mined in most parts of the country. The government complies with the Kimberley Process KP certification scheme, which enables Liberia to export rough diamonds to other KP member countries. Some of the most lucrative alluvial mining sites are, however, located in remote and inaccessible areas in forest regions, and the government lacks the necessary resources or capacity to effectively monitor these mining activities. The Ministry of Mines and Energy is trying to formalize the artisanal and small-scale mining sector. The ministry's objective is to encourage artisanal and small-scale miners to organize their mine activities through cooperatives to improve recovery efficiency and environmental protection. Even though majority of Liberia's gold production and export come from alluvial and small-scale mine activities, there are also two industrial gold mining operations in presence of MNG Gold and D Mountain that operate under the auspices of Afisura Resources, a Turkish outfit. Hummingbird Resources, a British exploration and mining firm, was issued a gold mineral development agreement on 10 January 2019. They have committed themselves to ramp up commercial production of the resource within the next 2 years, thereby increasing gold production from hard rock. It is noteworthy to mention that diamond potentials of kimberlite currencies in the western region of Liberia could probably yield industrial scale production of diamonds. Our energy sector also offers enormous opportunities relating mainly to hydro and solar potentials. This is why our vision focuses on Liberia becoming a hub for renewable energy with the capacity to export excess generation. This vision is based on the facts that Liberia falls within a solar-rich region lying between the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn above the equator. High-intensity sunshine is experienced during the 6-month period of high season, with intermittent sunshine even during the 6-month period of the wet season. There are also six major river systems, along which various grades of hydropower systems can be developed. Overall, Liberia's base load projection of its entire energy mix is estimated at 4,000 megawatts. Our legal, fiscal, and regulatory framework already gives investors the clarity and transparency they need. And in the spirit of a win-win partnership, Liberia is committed to providing investors with the incentives and other benefits they need to grow successful businesses. That is why, under the high patronage of His Excellency Dr. George WEAH, President of the Republic of Liberia, the government of Liberia, through the Ministry of Mines and Energy, in partnership with Cabinet, SEMICA, organized this international exhibition on mining, energy, and oil and gas, slated to take place from 28th to 30th November 2019 at the Millenium Afriland Hotel in Monrovia, under the theme Exploring Opportunities and Investing in Africa's Mining, Energy, and Petroleum Industries. For 3 days, in the presence of several high personalities to include ministers, ambassadors, CEOs, industry consultants and experts, investors, mining and oil companies, financing institutions, etc. Conferences, exhibitions, B2B business meetings, and special events will take place. We will be happy to welcome you to SEMICA Liberia 2019. Thank you. Deposited by me, Gessler E. Murray, Minister of Mines and Energy, Republic of Liberia.
Thank you, Honourable Minister, for officially opening this press conference with that elaborate statement. At this time, it is good that we have the regulators in the LPRA and the LPRC fully represented. So we'll turn out to the press and take.
TA, before we do that, we, in this public manner, want to recognize our sponsors for this event thus far. We understand these are economic trying times, but nevertheless, our traditional partners have come on board to help sponsor this conference and exhibition. Special recognition to ArcelorMittal Liberia, to Hummingbird Resources, to Adversarial Group, Tier 2 Minerals, as well as the Diamond Dealers Association of Liberia. Thus far, we have Caterpillar International also on board with this conference, and the enthusiasm is picking up, and more sponsors are lined up for a promotion of this event. So, because over the next 3 days, from the 28th to the 30th, this conference will serve as a networking platform, firstly to showcase Liberia's mineral, energy, and petroleum endowment, thereby attracting investors, especially this time around on the African continent. For the last 2 conferences, we tended to neglect our African endowment. So this time around, we have had commitments from our sister countries. We have commitments from Guinea, Ivory Coast, Niger, Morocco, Mauritania, and several other countries will be sending their ministers of mines, energy, and petroleum to this conference. So that will be a serious networking platform where we have our relevant line ministries and agencies well represented, the NIC, LERC, LPRA, NUCAL, etc. So there will be intense lobbying on our side to attract investors into the mining and energy and petroleum sectors. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Honorable Minister. It was very important to recognize those institutions that are giving us the financial resources to have this event. So I think there was going to be a big ground for us to close this section of all recognizing them. So we'll turn out to the press, so we'll take 3 questions. Okay. Okay, we'll take as many as possible. Minister, you know how big that way. So you just call your name, which institution?
Okay, my name is Obadiah Johnson. I come from Front Page Africa newspaper. To you, Honorable Minister, you're about to host another conference again in Liberia. The energy sector has been racked with numerous challenges. What do you make of the outsourcing of the energy sector of Liberia based upon persistent calls from Liberians? The second question has to do with...
I think we should do it one by one.
One by one. One questions. Yeah.
Say, what is our take on the outsourcing of Liberia's energy sector? I don't think I really grasp your question, but let me say that the Minister Miller alluded to the fact that we are endowed with a variety of mineral resources and to also include energy resources. We do not have the financial resources to capitalize these resources and create wealth. So we depend on our external financial partners that have the technical and financial wherewithal to invest and grow these resources. Until we develop our human capacity, our manpower, we'll still have to rely on external support. Currently, we would like to acknowledge the outpouring support from the donor community that help us to rehabilitate and expand our Mount Coffee hydropower system from a pre-war capacity of just only 65 megawatts to an upgradation of 88 megawatts. It's highly deployable. Usage has been very assistive. The European Investment Bank would like to say hats off to them also. The German Investment Bank, KfW, has been also assistive. And even the African Development Bank. So these are all external partners that are assisting us very generously to build an sufficient energy grid.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm Jefferson King. I report from Liberia News Agency. Just a few weeks back, he said, made a pronouncement that anyone that's using drug on the mining site, you should stop it, and if they found, you'll be arrested. What has the ministry done? What system have you available put in place to go and check on the mining site? And those individuals that are mining, are they in compliance with your pronouncement?
Well, let me say from the get-go that our greatest threat here is lack of resources. The ministry is no secret, is severely under-resourced. So our capacity to comb the entire length and breadth of the country is a serious drawback. So what we've done, literally, is to disseminate the information. And we expect collaboration and cooperation of all of the local authorities. That is the superintendents, the chiefs, the elders. They should be the first watchdog to ward off these so-called mining dissidents that emanate from the sub-region and as far as Asia. So what we're doing is to have that particular press release fully disseminated to all arresting authorities to impound, arrest any illegal operator, merely those who are on our water bodies, dredging, suctioning sediments from riverbed, promoting lateral erosion because they destroy the banks, and chemical pollution. It has to stop. They also use mercury. Mercury is a toxic substance. As a chemist, you know that it is non-biodegradable. It enters your system and can severely impact on both the male and female reproductive health, to the extent that offspring could be born with both physical and visual impairment. We're not making anybody afraid, but this is the glaring reality that we have to stop this massive wave that I like to refer to as an avalanche of mine invasion across the country. It has to stop. And we're very, very serious. Anybody caught in the act, in collaboration, working collaboration with the Ministry of Justice, by extension the police and immigration forces. So let the signal be sent that we're not joking. Over the past one or 2 years, we've been planning. Now we have a very, very strong blueprint that will substantially mitigate or even perhaps cure all of these mining problems we have right now.
Just follow up.
So I think we'll concentrate on the conference.
Yes.
Yes.
Follow up,
So
on the conference.
Question on the conference.
Yeah, follow up.
Okay, my name is Nelson Bush, and I report for farming. Talking about the conference, you mentioned that it's going to be about showcasing Liberia's natural endowment, some of the resources we have, and talking about gold, diamonds, and some of these things you mentioned. But aside from just letting people know about some of those resources we have, some of which they are aware of, what extra thing do we hope to see coming out of this conference?
Yes, if the latter part of my statement alluded to the fact that we're going to be deluged with a lot of important actors in the extractive sector, CEOs, resource developers, ministers, ambassadors from the sub-region and elsewhere. So this will kind of showcase our potentials in mineral, in hydrocarbons, in wind energy, in solar energy, all of the issues that relate to the development of the extractive sector will be showcased. And perhaps someone may just take an interest. That's the whole point. An exhibition is to showcase what you have and how you can attract investors on a win-win basis. That we should have a framework that will satisfy both the guy who's investing his money as well as we who have the resources. That is the important to strike an agreeable balance between the investor and the country.
Yeah, before moving to the next question, I'll like to recognize the President of the Deputy Minister, Eugene Falcon, and we are also then joined by Assistant Minister,
Yeah, sorry, let me just recognize him, and he's always on top of the game. Deputy Minister Falcon, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Follow up. Honorable Minister, most often international conferences held in Liberia or activities are mired or characterized by pleasantries. Policies, suggestions, or recommendations emanating from these conferences are not adequately implemented to better the living conditions of Liberians. What guarantee can you give that this conference this time around will bring something or will be fruitful to benefit the citizens?
Are you against pleasantries? Pleasantries to me are a precursor to success. You have to engage in pleasantries and welcome people, be very warm. I know Liberians are very receptive. So yes, the exhibition will be characterized by pleasantries, but also with seriousness. This is a platform that we have an exchange of ideas, of concepts, of paradigms on how to to grow the mineral sector and the energy sector. Like I said earlier on, the World Bank's chief economist for Africa, released a report saying that the energy sector, the mining sector grew by 7%, and as opposed to the non-mining sector that declined by 3.5%. That's a good news. It's a good news. So that actually signifies that the mining sector will catalyze growth in other sectors, like agriculture, hospitality, fishery, etc. Okay, so our concept here is to see mining sector revenue being invested into other key growth sectors to make those sectors sustainable.
Yes, my name is Obed Jiba from Joy FM. Mr. Minister, showcasing our natural endowment to the public to attract investors at this time through the SEMICA conference. Will it bring an end to the many challenges we are faced with, or is just, especially in the energy sector, ranging from illicit mining and other issues, bring relief to this country?
See, you have short, medium, and long-term objectives. This conference envisages those three spectrums. Okay, you have to talk, you have to dialogue, to find a way forward. So we're not going to say that after this conference, Liberia's economic quagmire will be solved. However, in perhaps not the long distant future, you get to see a small upturn in the mineral energy sectors. Now, mind you, let me announce to this gathering that perhaps in the first or second quarter of 2020, you have the CLSG transmission line coming on stream. CLSG means Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea. This is an energy interconnection project among the MRU states that operate that operates under the auspices of WEAH, West African Power Pool. Okay. Now, mind you, the tariff right now, is very, very high, 25 cents per kilowatt hour. We're very hopeful that with the coming of the CLSG, you have a reduction in the tariff, because the CLSG will sell to the NDC at perhaps 12 cents per kilowatt hour. Okay, if you add another 5 cents or 6 cents, you may have the tariff being under 10 cents per kilowatt hour. And that means a lot. That means a lot to the low-income communities. Mind you, electricity is regarded as a poverty alleviation and wealth creation facility. Notwithstanding, only about 5% of the entire country has access to electricity. That paradigm has to change. In Monrovia and its environs, it's only about 10% access rate. We're working hard towards that. The CLSG will hopefully reverse that ugly scenario. Opportunities to invest in the WEAH River. Now we're trying to also, with the support of the World Bank, to develop additional hydro systems along the Support River. Okay? And we wish to use the concession model to finance those cascades. Okay? So we want to see energy being heavily reduced perhaps to 5 cents or 3 cents, like in the case of Ethiopia. Okay, Ethiopia has 3 cents. Okay, we want to see a wider distribution. That's why we've made substantial progress in light of generation and transmission. Now we're working very, very hard with the donors and others on our distribution infrastructure. When that happens, we're very, very sure that we can see gradual upturn in our economy beginning next year and going forward.
Yes. Mr. Minister, my name is Alvin Rose, I work for the Daily newspaper. And
I'd like to get your expectation at the end of this conference.
My expectation? I have a very, very wild expectation that this conference will attract needed investments to grow the extractive sector. That's my expectation. Mind you, it's being held under the auspices of His Excellency Dr. George WEAH, who's a star, who's a mega star in global icon. And he's a magnet that we hope will attract more investors. Okay, I would like I wanted to have my friend Innocent say something. You've been talking French, I will interpret in English. Or I will use my colleague from Rich. When it's time, we used to write book reports in French on a book, Shamat. But you can say something to us, and then maybe Honorable Patron will also say something to us. Who will do it first? He's our co-organizer.
Yes.
Thank you, Minister. My English is not very good, but I try.
I think that is good enough.
Yeah. I prefer English to French. So I haven't previewed to tell something this morning because all the leadership of this event is at the honor. It's an initiative of the government of Liberia. We are just operator. But our cabinet is thankful and grateful for the honor government of Liberia have given us as commitment for organizing this event. We are very proud to work for Liberia. We are thankful and grateful to the President George WEAH and all his government and the ministry. We have a good expectation for the development of the Liberia. Their commitment and their vision are bring us in Liberia. We are just a means to help to go in this vision. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's an applause.
Well, let me apologize for coming late, and that's because every Thursday, many of you here in the media know we normally have the BCAT press briefing, and there were some pressing issues that I thought I would have escaped to come to be with my brother Gessler here, the Honorable Minister, and such as the rumors about the printing of the money and how we had printed the money already, and GSC, all these kind of little things. If you don't step on it, people tend to believe it. And so we had to do our work. But I'm grateful to be here. And I want to admonish you, the members of the media, they say when you go to church, don't raise song. So I can't raise any issue because I have not, but the little I was able to get is to tell you all now and to admonish you, members in the media, to go forth with the message that this event that is going to come to our country is intended to help us as a nation and as a people, especially with respect to our mining and energy sector that has come under some form of, in some areas, attacks from critics when they say, oh, you're saying now the Ghanaian have been taking oil, mineral, or every day we hear LEC bringing pool, we can't see pool and we can't see meters. The Ministry of Mines and Energy has done significantly well, especially under your able leadership, Mr. Minister. And members of the press have your responsibility to go out there and tell the story. If this event, which of course I want to believe will be very successful, will be successful as we anticipate, members of the media you will have to play your role. The Liberian people will have to be informed on the day-to-day activities of the event and the outcome so that we keep in touch with ourselves as a people and as a nation to be able to forge ahead. I'm happy that you talk about the CLSG, which is the Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Guinea partnership with respect to power. Power has been our problem. He stressed it here. So it tells you that if we're able to get the energy sector up and running, think about it for a second. If this whole place was lighted up, it will attract the needed investment to the country. You want to come and produce tomato, but you don't have any power to even run your machines. You want to come and produce canned fish. You don't have any power. You want to open industries, manufacturing plants, no power. So we all have a work to do. And Mr. Minister, I want to assure you from the Ministry of Information that today was a Thursday, but any other day for such an event, count on me, I'll bring the crew.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished partners, we'd like to officially close this session, and this is not the last engagement. We admonish the press to always interact with the focal point of SEMICA Liberia and Patronage S. Miller, who will continually give us updates as we move closer to the 28th of November. Thank you.
This piece is over. This part, this first part. Thank you so much.